All right, welcome to day 2 of Rock the Void. If you are going through this experience with me in real time, I just want to say we had some technical difficulties with the previous day 2 recording, so I am here recording it again, and it is 7 p.m. I might be on here till like 8:30 or 9. Doesn't really matter to me because I want to make sure that I get this content out to you. And as I was kind of preparing and going over everything, I actually got an idea to create 2 additional slides that I think will really help you. So it all worked out for the best. I believe that this is all coming together beautifully, and I'm really excited to share these 2 new slides with you, in addition to everything that I have for you in Rock the Void Day 2. And if you're here, I also just want to congratulate you because a lot of people sign up for free trainings and they don't watch them. And then a lot of people sign up for free trainings and they watch the first part, but they don't actually finish. And so if you're here for day 2, that is huge. You really should be proud of yourself. That is a sign that you are very, very dedicated to your personal growth. And so I knew that I had to really bring it for day 2, and I was going to fight to get this content and get this recording to you, because the type of people who sign up for a free training, watch the first day and watch the second day are my kind of people. And those are the kind of people that I really want to make sure that I am personally showing up for. So, with all of that being said, welcome, 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 and let's dig into the content for today. Okay, so just as with last time, I'm going to have you set an intention. Just check in with yourself and ask yourself, what is the one question that I want to get answered through this training? So, as a reminder, we are here talking about what to do while you're waiting for your manifestations, how to move your manifestations forward, and really bridging that gap between setting an intention and actually receiving the manifestation. So, any question you have on that front at all, I'm here for you. I'm very excited to support you through it. And the first step is for you to take a moment, get quiet, get honest with yourself, and see what's here. So, with that, I'm going to set a timer on my phone for 1 minute, just like last time, and I will let you know when the timer is up. But use this time to journal or to just sit quietly and ask yourself, what is the one question that you want to get answered over the course of this experience? All right, that was 1 minute. I hope that you have set your intention, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how it all unfolds, especially because we are doing this asynchronously. So I really do believe that your intention will be met, that you will find the answer to your question through something that I share in these slides. And again, you're going to have to get back to me and let me know how it all worked out, because I'm curious. Okay, so as a reminder, today we are going to really focus on more of like the how to strategic, like action taking part. We spent a lot of time on mindset yesterday. I will be revisiting the mindset briefly but I really want to spend time on the how to and the tangible action steps because that is going to be really what moves your manifestation forward once you are in the correct mindset, of course. So today we're going to be talking about how to build momentum and move the manifestation forward without micromanaging or burning out. So I'm going to really be going deep into like what does it look like to show up consistently without extracting from yourself, without depleting yourself, without obsessing over every little thing. And then as promised, I am going to give you a 15-minute daily practice that you can use that will help you make sure that your manifestation succeeds. And I know that this is a bold claim, but it's really true because the way that, and you'll understand once I show it to you, but the way that you show up consistently and daily is what ultimately adds up to create your life. And so if you start implementing this practice on a daily basis, your life will rearrange just because the way that you are approaching your life rearranges. And again, I have so much more to say on this. So let's just dig into the slides. And then, of course, just as I mentioned last class, I will be sharing more about working with me and what it is like to have me in your corner as you go through your manifestation journey. This isn't just about manifesting some cool stuff one time. This is about becoming the type of person who can manifest a whole new chapter of your life because I know you have a vision. I know you have things that you are here to create, and I want to be there for you. I want to support you. I want to give you everything that I have, and that is really what I do for my clients. So I'm going to be talking more about what it looks like to become a client at the end of today's sesh. All right. But first, giveaway. So, as you know, I am running a giveaway. I'm going to be giving away one free session, a one-on-one coaching session. And because the timing of this has shifted, the deadline to submit your giveaway entry is actually going to be this upcoming Friday. So, I'm looking at the calendar, Friday, the 27th of Feb. And so, DM me your takeaways in writing. Let me know how this went for you, any aha moments, any realizations that you had. And then I will be picking a winner on Friday, the 27th of February, and I will be announcing you on my Instagram stories, and I will be notifying you via email, and I will send you the link to book your free session. So, without further ado, let's talk about how to build momentum and how to move your manifestations forward. Again, without micromanaging, without obsessing, and without burning out. So, in order to build momentum, you need to have a deep level of self-awareness. You need to be willing to look at yourself and to acknowledge where you are still showing up as your past self. And the reason for this is because how you show up heavily, heavily influences the results that you create in your life. So, if you want to create a new experience, if you want to create a new reality, you have to start by changing your behavior. You have to start by showing up differently. And so, in order to really make these changes, you have to be willing to look at like, what are the behaviors that you're engaging in that keep you stuck in the situation that you don't want to be in? So, could it be skipping workouts? Could it be ghosting your business? Like you say that you want to grow a business, but then you don't show up in the way that you need to. You don't show up every day, or let's say 5 days a week, but you don't show up enough to really have the results that you're saying that you want. And so for some of you, it's about not showing up enough. For others of you, you might be pressing the gas and the brakes at the same time. So I was actually just on the phone with someone recently who was like, I work out, but then I have a lot of trouble with eating and I get into this like mindset where I'm just like binging and eating too much. And I have also been there, like I have been in that exact situation with binge eating, and I talked about that yesterday or in our most recent call. But we want to be aware of like, what am I doing that is stopping me from actually making progress? And again, this requires a lot of self-awareness and you being willing to be honest with yourself. But what we don't want to do is we don't want to be in a situation where we're like, I'm not getting the result and I have no idea why, or I'm not making any progress and I have no idea why. Whenever you're like, I'm not getting the result I want and I have no idea why, that is just a sign that you need to be more honest with yourself and you need to be more willing to look at the behaviors that you're engaging in that are stopping you from getting the results that you want. And one thing that I'll say here too, that it wasn't like initially in the plan, was you also want to just be aware of what's in your influence. because a lot of people underestimate how much control and how much influence they actually have over their lives. And so if you're here, I want you to really think about like, where am I blaming other people for my lack of results versus really taking ownership over everything I possibly can. This doesn't mean that you need to try to manipulate or control others, but it's to say, as long as it depends on me, I am going to do my part to bring this manifestation to life. And then I'm going to trust the factors outside of my control to meet me where I'm at and to work out for me. And that's really the most beautiful place to be in with a manifestation, where you are willing to take full control for your part and you're willing to show up and take responsibility and work on your habits and work on yourself and change your behavior and like be patient with yourself while you are changing, but you are also willing to trust that the factors outside of your control are going to line up with you and work out for you. And when you get to that place, magic happens. Like, that is really where you want to be with manifestation. But it all starts with being willing to take responsibility for all the things that are in your control and being really, really honest and open with yourself about what is in your control that you are not fully owning and fully showing up for. And again, it may be that you're not showing up enough, or it may be that you are showing up a lot, but then you are doing something else to cancel it out. You're doing something to undo it. And so you just have to be aware this is going to be different for every person. Like I said, that is really why I work with clients closely, so that I can really get to know them and understand and see like this is what's going on for each person specifically. But for you yourself, just have the self-awareness of like, what am I doing that is keeping me stuck in the same situation? And then your work is to create new habits, and break the old habits. So remember how I said in our most recent training that you are taking energy out of your past self, out of your past life, and moving it into your future. So really what we are doing is we are breaking habits. We are divesting our energy from the things that keep our lives the same and investing our energy into the things that allow our lives to change. So you don't really have capacity to show up as your past self and your future self at the same time. You are only ever picking one or the other. So the same person is not either skipping workouts or showing up for the workout. Either you're skipping it and you're not doing it, or you're showing up. Either you're ghosting your business or you're showing up for your business consistently, but you are not going to be in a situation where you're doing both at once. And I say this to say you can divest energy, pull energy out of the things that keep your life the same, the things that have you feeling stuck, and pour that energy into the things that will allow your life to change. But you have to realize that every yes is also a no, and every no is also a yes. So every time you say yes to working out, you're saying no to staying the same physically. Every time you say yes to making a post, you're saying no to ghosting your business, right? So you have to just think about it that way. Like, every time you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. And so you want to focus on showing up as your future self through your behavior. Behave as your future self would behave, and you will create the life that your future self has, just because of the fact that your actions add up and your actions have consequences. So you cannot consistently show up as a new version of you without seeing your life change, without seeing the results that you hope for. And I just want to make that very, very clear. So, how do we actually change our behavior? The way that we change our behavior starts with changing our mind. When we change the way we relate to something, we change the way we show up to it. And so, the mindsets that we talked about yesterday are really the building blocks and the keys to help you really change your behavior and start showing up differently in your life. So, as we talked about last time, connect to your deeper why. Why do you want to manifest? Why do you want to get really good at manifestation? Not just manifesting this one thing that you're here to create, but can you become the version of you who can manifest anything? And what would that be like? Like, why does that matter to you? And I went so deep into each of these yesterday or last call that I'm not going to like belabor the point today, but I just want to make it clear. Connecting to your why is going to move you forward so much more deeply, and it will snap you out of those old habits that have kept you stuck in the past. So connect to your why, commit to the journey no matter how long it takes, knowing that you are okay along the way. Remember that it is not over until it's over, no matter how close it gets. So, no matter how much it looks like your manifestation is over, until you can hold it in your hand and see it with your eyes, you got to keep going. You got to keep your foot on the gas and don't let up. Keep going, keep committed, stay locked in until you have fully manifested the whole vision. And do not take it for granted. I cannot stress that enough. And then also know that it's meant for you, but it's meant for a version of you. So instead of entertaining the idea that you don't get to have it, get curious about who you would need to be, what version of you you need to become in order to actually be a match for that thing. And so you can actually use these mindsets to create new habits that will move your manifestation forward. And these were the two slides that I wanted to give you because I want to really invite you to think about this in a way that is very practical. So, if your old mindset was, it's harder than it should be, the new mindset is connect to the deeper why for your manifestation practice. So when it gets hard, connect to your why. And the way that this looks practically is that when you find yourself wanting to give up, when you find yourself wanting to give in to the fact that it's hard and like tap out because it's too hard, spend 5 minutes reflecting on why you started this journey. And I say 5 minutes because it's short enough that it's doable, but it's long enough to actually change your mindset. It's long enough to actually get you focused on something else. So actively invite your brain to remember, why did I start this? Why does this matter? Why am I committed, even when it's hard? And you have to train yourself to think this way. And so you want to make a habit of thinking in a new way. And when you think about why you started, you will be inspired to keep going. So these are not just habits for the sake of habits, these are habits that are going to actually move you in a new direction so that you can create a new life for yourself. So, for example, if your old mindset is it's taking so long, your new mindset is to commit to the journey no matter how long it takes while knowing that you are okay along the way. And an example of cultivating this mindset and translating it into a behavior is that you are going to romanticize, for example, one part of your daily routine. And these are examples. You can come up with anything that works for you as long as you get the concept. But this is just something that you can start with if you're like, okay, I'm hearing the mindsets and I want to put them into practice in my life. This is a very easy way. So you might say, I am going to play my favorite music and make sure that I have a good candle going and like really love my shower routine. And that is going to help me remember that my life right now is good and that I'm not rushing and that I have nothing to escape from. And when you remember that you have nothing to escape from, you go out of fight or flight and you drop down into that level of commitment and certainty that you need to be in order to really create your manifestation. He who is certain of the outcome can afford to wait and wait without anxiety. But the way that you let go of the anxiety is you become willing to romanticize your life as it is. And once you actually deeply love your life as it is, it becomes so much easier to change. And so the habit of romanticizing your daily shower routine is actually shifting your mindset and helping you get to the place where you can actually go the distance and stick to your manifestation no matter how long it takes. So, again, the habits are intentional. They're here not just to change your behavior, but to change your mind. And as you change your mind, your behavior will change just as a byproduct of you changing your mind. So I have two more. So the old mindset is it keeps almost happening. Remember, like it looks like you get to the finish line and then it doesn't make it all the way through. And that can be incredibly frustrating. The cycle of hope and disappointment that we discussed. Your new mindset is to remember that it's not over until it's over, no matter how close it gets. And your habit is to keep showing up and keep showing up and keep showing up until the manifestation comes to fruition. So the example that I will give with business is you keep selling and you keep marketing and you keep promoting until you have the number of clients that you want. Even if you have 10 people saying, I'm going to sign up, I'm going to sign up, yes, I'm going to sign up, until those people sign up, you keep marketing, you keep promoting, you keep selling, you keep showing up. You show up until you can hold it in your hands and see it with your eyes. And that is a habit that you need to build. You need to become someone who keeps going until the manifestation is fully formed. And then finally, the old mindset is maybe it's not meant for me. The new mindset is to know that it's meant for you, but it's meant for a version of you. And then the habit that kind of translates that mindset is you want to look for and embrace opportunities for personal growth. And so, whenever you have an opportunity to grow as a person, to embrace a challenge, to use it to stretch you and to grow you, you lean into that. You lean into growth because you know that growth is what makes you a new version of yourself. So, instead of shying away, instead of defending and arguing for your limitations, so for example, your past self might be like, "Oh, I can't get up early. It's not my thing." Your new self might say, "I think I can get up early because I can do anything. So who do I need to be in order to get up early?" Right? Like I used to say, and even in an old recording of this, I used to say, "I can't work out unless I work out in the morning." But that in and of itself was me limiting myself versus I can work out any time of day because I'm a person who works out. And so I have used that as an opportunity for personal growth rather than arguing for what I can't do and what's not possible for me. So notice whenever you have an opportunity for personal growth and lean into it rather than defending the fact that you can't do a certain thing. Okay, so you can reflect for yourself based on these examples and see if there are any habits that you can tap into that align with each of these mindsets. And then once we have a habit in place, we need to stick to it. So I have a slide here just about resilience, perseverance, and how to keep showing up in a new way because anybody can do something once. I would say anybody can do something for a week, but we want you to be willing to do this for months and years until your life has really changed, until you are living in a completely new reality. So, how do we stick to this new way of showing up in the world? Remember that it needs to be moment by moment. It can be overwhelming to think about changing your life, like I said, showing up year after year after year in new ways, but focus on the moment in front of you. Stay present. I'm going to do this one thing right now that's going to move me forward. I don't need to worry about what I'm going to do 10 years from now. I just need to show up right now in a way that is going to support me and move me forward. Another thing that I want you to remember is that done is better than perfect. So release your ideal of how it should look and just be proud of the fact that you showed up at all. Remember that what you have to give is enough. So going back to the example of like when you want to give up, spend 5 minutes reflecting on your why. Spend 5 minutes reflecting on your why. Some people might be like, "Oh, I need to light a candle and open up my fancy journal and like get my favorite pen and curl up in a windowsill and that's when I do my reflection." But what if you just set a timer on your phone and jotted some things down in your note app on bullet points? What if you didn't even write anything at all, but you just focused on it for a second? Like it doesn't have to look a certain way. But what matters is that you do it. What matters is that you do it consistently. And so, how messy does it need to be for it to be consistent? And if you look at anything that I do with my business, like I always value consistency over it being polished, over it being perfect, over it being neat. Like I will record videos in my workout clothes with horrible lighting, but I know that like the message needs to get out. And I would much rather do that than wait for like the perfect conditions and then barely ever put out any content, you know? So I want you to really think about it the same way. How messy does it have to be for it to be consistent and tolerate the messiness for the sake of the consistency? So done is better than perfect. What you have to give is enough. And then keep coming back. So if you fall off, if you skip your habit, if a month goes by and you realize you haven't been doing it, just show up again the next day. Don't let it be a huge thing. Keep the identity of the person who actually shows up in these new ways. So, for example, if you said you're going to romanticize your shower routine, but then you forget a day and then a week goes by, 2 weeks go by, and you haven't been playing your playlist and you haven't been lighting your candle and stuff, and you just have forgotten, that's okay. But the next time you take a shower, just pick it back up. Just learn how to bounce back without it being a whole shame spiral every time you don't stick to your habit. That is going to keep you consistent way longer than feeling like you have to do it all the time and you have to be on this perfect streak. And then learn what helps you stay consistent. Like, so for example, you could have it stack. you, like I said, if you notice that you want to give up on your manifestations, if like by Friday, by the end of the week, you're just tired and you're like, oh, I don't want to show up, I don't want to do this, then remind yourself, what can you do on like Thursday evening that will actually help you make it through Friday? So for me, sometimes if I'm tired and I'm like, oh my God, I do not want to keep doing this, I'll plan like a little coffee shop solo date on Friday and I'll work from a coffee shop. And that is easy for me. That helps me stay consistent because it's fun. So normally I'm working here in my home office, but if I'm like, oh, I'm not feeling it, I can't do it, I want to tap out, I'll just go to a coffee shop. No big deal. There's like a million coffee shops. Just pick one, go there. If I really am like out of it, sometimes I'll text a friend and see if a friend wants to co-work with me. But I do what I need to do so that I can stay consistent. And then finally, come back to the four mindsets. Get curious about what's going on with you beneath the surface. Is it that I'm telling myself it's not meant for me? Is it that I'm telling myself that you know, it's taking too long, like whatever it might be? Notice what's going on in your mind and then reframe in the way that I described. So look back at these slides and say, okay, if I'm telling myself maybe it's not meant for me, then I need to remind myself it's meant for me, but it's meant for a version of me. And then have that reframe in your pocket so that you can actually experience the transformation because you have kept coming back and coming back and coming back. So this isn't something that you do once, it's something that you do consistently. You are in a relationship with your manifestation and you need to work on it over and over and over again. So the key thing before we move on to the 15-minute daily practice is that this really is about staying power. It's about resilience and perseverance. Like I'm already even showing you now, it's not always going to be perfect. Weird things will happen, like I was planning to have this out to you by Friday. It's Monday evening and I am re-recording because we had technical issues, but I am going to make sure that you get this, even if it has to be messy, even if it has to be imperfect. And I'm going to show up through the challenges and through the frustrating pieces of it because this matters to me on a bigger level. And so I want the same for you. I want you to be so committed and so connected that even when things go south, even when things don't make sense, even when it gets frustrating and confusing, you are still willing to show up, even if it's messy, even if it's imperfect, because you know that what you have to give is enough. And you know that if you can just keep showing up, it will all add up and it will compound and it will work out for you. Okay, so with that, let's go to a daily practice, which is like the ultimate thing that you need to be willing to commit to and show up for and just like do it rain or shine because it's daily, right? And the best results happen when you really can make a daily commitment to it. Not to say never ever skip a day or it's canceled, but do your best to show up more often than not for this daily practice. And like I said, you will see really big changes in your life. So, the 15-minute daily practice to help you rock the void. So I want to frame this very intentionally because the practice works, but it works when you approach it in a certain way. It can be counterproductive if you don't have this framing in mind. So that's why we're going to take a couple slides to just frame it. And then once you have the framing down, it will work and it will make sense for you. Oop. Okay, so you need to be in a place of self-compassion. You need to be willing to love yourself through the void. Love yourself through the journey of bringing your manifestation to life. Look at the things that I'm going to give you to look at in this practice without blaming yourself, without judging yourself. Be willing to forgive yourself. Be willing to have compassion for yourself. Be willing to be your own best friend here. As you are doing the practice, you will want to avoid it because the practice is uncomfortable. It's not uncomfortable to the point where it can't be done, but it is going to bring up some emotional discomfort. And this is your opportunity to be kind to yourself, to be patient, to be compassionate, to be empathetic. And when you meet the discomfort with love, it dissolves and you're able to move through it. But when you meet the compassion or when you meet the discomfort with like shame and blame, you will go into an avoidant place. So the baseline for this is self-love and self-compassion. And I want to just give you the opportunity to really practice holding space for yourself as you do this work. And you'll see what I mean in a second. Okay, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will rule your life and you will call it fate. So, the purpose of this practice is to help you explore what's going on beneath the surface. You will learn things that you had not previously understood about yourself. And again, it can be confronting work. And that's why self-compassion is so, so important because you need to be able to look at these things without it hurting your relationship with yourself. I do believe that over time, you will get used to it and it will not feel as confronting. But in the beginning, you will want to avoid it because you're looking beneath the surface at things that you buried for a reason. But when you actually look at them and when you bring them to the light, you will be free from them. So that's why Carl Jung says, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will rule your life and you will call it fate. And that's when you get to the place of, I'm not moving forward and I have no idea why, or I'm not getting the results and I have no idea why. There is a reason, but the reason is likely unconscious. And that's why we need to do this work. And so once you know the reason, once you bring it to light, you will be free from it and it will not be ruling your life anymore. So that's really the purpose of this. Okay, so when you become aware of how your energy, and energy just means your thoughts and your feelings, when you become aware of how your thoughts and your feelings are creating your results, you are no longer living on autopilot. So you are no longer having these unconscious patterns ruling your life, and it's no longer feeling like you're just fated to fail or fated to be stuck, but you have the awareness to see where your control lies and where your influence lies. And so you can make the necessary changes to actually intentionally break the patterns that have been holding you back. Okay, so the 15-minute daily practice. Each day, I want you to take 15 minutes to journal through the following. So just 5 minutes per question. So the first one is, what are the results that you have that don't line up with your manifestation? So you want new clients, you have no new clients. You want a partner, you have no potential partners. You want X and you're getting Y. What is the gap between where you are and where you want to be? And just journal on that, name it, acknowledge it. 5 minutes is a good amount of time because it will require you to dig in. I want you to take the full 5 minutes, but it's also short enough that it's not going to like send you into a spiral. So use full 5 minutes to really reflect on what is the gap between where you are and where you want to be. Explain these results using only your own choices. So only looking at what's in your control. So not, the algorithm, not the dating apps, not anything outside of your control, but use your sphere of influence, your agency, and explain the gap. What actions did you take or not take that led to the situation that you are in? And notice if your instinct is to blame someone or something outside of you. If your instinct is to say, it's the weather, it's the people on social media, it's my parents, it's, whoever it may be, just notice that and then guide yourself back to what are the actions I took and what are the choices I made, slash, what are the actions I didn't take and what are the choices I didn't make that put me in the situation I'm in. That's why I said that this can be confronting because a lot of people do struggle to look at life this way. But when you look at life this way, it becomes so much easier for you to feel powerful and to be powerful and to move powerfully, even when people outside of you are not cooperating with you. I'm not here to say that like no one else has a role in your life, but what I'm here to say is that you have a much bigger sphere of influence. You have much more say and much more control and much more influence than you have been realizing. And this practice is going to make you realize it. And so then, what are the thoughts and emotions that led you to make these choices? So remember how I said your behavior comes from your mind, it comes from your energy. So it's not just like, oh, I ghosted my bank account. I said I was going to look at my bank account every week and I've been ghosting my bank account and therefore I'm not where I want to be financially. Like that's step one, but step two is what was I thinking and feeling that led me to ghost my bank account? And that's really where the magic is. It's like, what are the thoughts I was thinking and the feelings I was feeling that led me to make choices that put me in a situation that I don't want to be in? And once you notice that, you have actually clarified and really understood the unconscious pattern that is keeping you from getting where you want to go in life. And then you can address those thoughts and those feelings directly through whatever modality works for you. I am a coach. I love coaching. I have used coaching and breath work pretty much to heal and shift everything in my life. Um, but it just gives you a sense of like what your work is and where you need to really like lean in so that you can break the patterns. And so, as I said earlier, a lot of people give up in the void. This is why the void like kills people's manifestations because they're in the void, they don't know what to do, and they give up, or they know what to do, like how you just took this class, you know what to do. I gave you practices, I gave you thoughts, you know what to do, but people avoid doing it because it's vulnerable. That's why I have really like emphasized like do it messy, do it inconsistently, love yourself through it because it is vulnerable, but it is so worth it. And the vulnerability in and of itself is going to cause you to grow so deeply. And you do deserve it. Like you are worth going on this journey. But a lot of people, they don't know what to do, or they know what to do, but they avoid it. And the people that actually manifest big things in life are willing to overcome both of these. They're willing to get the information and they're willing to put the information into practice even when it's hard. Like that really is the difference between the people whose manifestations succeed and the people whose manifestations fail. So instead of giving up, I want you to use this practice to not only change your behavior, but to change your relationship with yourself, to become more self aware, to become more honest, to become more loving, to become more empowered, to really like become a new version of you. And as I've been saying, as you become a new version of you, you become a match for a different life. You become a match for who you want to be, and you show up differently and you get different results. Okay, so I just want to leave you with this as well. If you can master the void, you can master manifestation. This is the part where most people get stuck. If you are willing to really be in this process and have it be messy, but keep moving through it, you will bring all of your manifestations to fruition. I promise. And so, as I said, this is a general training. But I am here for you. I want to get to know you. I want to work with you personally. I want to be with you through the ups and downs of this journey. And I want to help you apply not only this training, but like all of my teachings to your specific situation. I'm going to take a hydration break. Mm. Ooh, I've been doing so much talking today. This is like my fourth call, quote unquote, call of the day. Um, But I really want to help you apply not just this work that we've done here, but all of my work. I have just in my Moody and Magnetic program a 23 module body of work where I really break down the nuances of manifestation. And I want to give that to you. I want to support you on this path and really meet with you and work with you to apply all of these principles to your life. Okay, sorry about that. I just had to cough. I've been talking so much. But I want to help you in a personalized and specific way if that is something that really matters to you, especially if you are a high achiever. You've had success on traditional pathways, but maybe getting there has felt unfulfilling, draining, even performative. Like you don't feel like you can be authentic and be your full self and really create the level of success that you desire. Like this, excuse me, this is exactly where I was. And these are the exact type of people that I love helping and that I really feel like I'm in a unique position to help. So, for example, maybe your income feels tied to you having to hide or silence parts of yourself, having to do everything perfectly, or work yourself to the point of burnout. But you dream of doing authentic work, doing work that's connected to your purpose, and being well compensated just for being yourself. And even though you dream of this, it can feel far away, or maybe like other people can have it, but you don't get to. Meanwhile, you do want to wake up every day knowing that your work is meaningful. You want to feel authentic in your career and you want to feel deeply aligned, like you can bring your full self to work. and you imagine doing that type of work, that purpose-driven work that really allows you to shine as your fullest self while feeling financially free, while being paid abundantly. Or maybe you've had no problems finding people to date, but you struggle to really let people in. Maybe you keep attracting people who put you on a pedestal and you don't really form those deep connections with people because you are afraid that you're not going to live up to the hype, or you're not going to be this idealistic version of you that people expect you to be. And honestly, before I was with my current partner, that was really how I felt, was like people were just putting me on a pedestal and I couldn't let them see my real self because then they would just get disappointed and leave. And so I didn't know how to be in an authentic relationship until I really took this work and applied it to that area of my life. But meanwhile, just like my past self, you crave a partnership full of true intimacy and vulnerability. Instead of being put on a pedestal, you want to be seen, loved, and accepted for all that you are without needing to perform or hold parts of yourself back. So you picture yourself in a partnership where you can relax without pressure to live up to your partner's idealized expectations. So you just want someone who sees the real you, accepts you for who you are, and doesn't put you on a pedestal. So, for one reason or another, you are drawn to manifestation as a way to bring more freedom, magic, and expansion into your life. You're ready to live more authentically, and you love the idea of creating amazing things without having to check all the boxes or stick to the logical pathways. Ooh. But along the way, you've grown frustrated with manifestation. Manifestation just, it feels hard and you don't get it because we've all been taught to believe that manifestation is supposed to be easy and effortless. And typically, you have a good work ethic, you know how to show up, and usually your best effort is all it takes. Usually your best is more than enough. But in manifestation, it feels like you're just throwing spaghetti at the wall and you have no idea what to do. It doesn't help that it's taking longer than you thought it would, and you're having trouble keeping the faith as the process continues to drag on. It doesn't help that you go through this cycle of hope and disappointment where you get inches away from your manifestation. It doesn't pan out, and then it feels like you're starting from scratch again. It doesn't help that you manifest something temporarily and then it just goes away, and you wonder whether or not it was all a fluke. And it doesn't help when your brain is telling you that if something is this hard, maybe it's just not meant for you, especially if you have that identity where things are supposed to be easy and things are supposed to come naturally. So the truth is, you are 100% capable of creating those big magical results that you're dreaming of without forcing yourself into those rigid boxes or trying to prove yourself through burning out. Manifestation, just like any other skill, just like riding a bike, it gets to be reliable. It gets to feel like a true skill that you have that helps you build the life that you truly want in a healthier, more aligned, and more sustainable way. So imagine that instead of second guessing every step of the way, you know how to navigate the ups and downs of manifestation in a way that fuels your faith instead of draining it. Imagine that rather than losing momentum or feeling like you're back at square one, you will experience manifestation as a steady unfolding. You will see how it's all adding up, and each step will bring you closer and closer to your desires without that cycle of hope and disappointment. Imagine that when your manifestation arises, it doesn't feel like a fluke or like it's temporary, but it feels solid, inevitable, and aligned with the life that you're building. And imagine that when a new desire emerges, instead of wondering if it's meant for you, you'll know deeply and without question that you are capable of bringing it to life. So this is exactly what we're doing in Moody and Magnetic. This is the program where I help you really master manifestation so it becomes that reliable skill, not just a cool party trick that you've seen on Instagram, but like something that you can count on to really change your life. So when you join Moody and Magnetic, you get lifetime access to 4 manifestation courses ranging from foundational to advanced, 32 videos, 23 videos total. You get access to weekly group coaching calls with me. You get unlimited email coaching. So if you can't make it to a call or if you have something come up, you can always email me. And then you get access to exclusive programs like Manifestation for High Achievers, which is coming in March. It's a lifetime access program which means that I am going to be with you every step of the way for years and years to come, as long as you want to keep engaging with Moody and Magnetic. So if you want to join us, because it's a long-term commitment, I always like to get to know everyone who is considering joining the group. And so schedule a consultation by the 26th to explore whether or not we're a good fit, and you'll be able to join us in time for Manifestation for High Achievers. All right, so that was all I had for you. Thank you so much for tuning in to Rock the Void. I know that if you put these principles into practice, it will change your life. Do your daily practice. Email me your takeaways so that I can enter you into the giveaway and hopefully you'll win a free session. And I cannot wait to see you again very, very soon, hopefully in a consultation. All right, take good care.